What's going on, guys? Welcome to the very last episode of 2021. As you can see, if you're watching the video, I have my daughter Nora here in the studio, the very first person to come into the studio with me to record a podcast. Very excited to have you here, Nora. Yeah, she's making a little noise. She's excited as well, maybe a little uncomfortable. She's got a cute little caterpillar that she's sitting in right now. But I really wanted to come and talk about a review of 2021, what's been going on with the podcast, what's been going on with my life, and hopefully some of the things that I've accomplished this year will really help you reflect on your life and help you go in a direction that you want to go in and go after your goals. So I don't say any of these accomplishments that I've done this year as a way to brag, but rather as a way to help you see the potential that you have. So, starting off the year, it was pretty crazy. We ended up finding out about Nora a couple of months into that year because we had her in October. So we found out in February, roughly, or January, February. So it was very exciting to be able to have that right there, right off the bat. We just finished out the year prior with trying to visit family and everything and staying here locally for Christmas, which ended up being what we did this Christmas as well, staying here in South Carolina rather than going back and seeing my family. Although I have plans here at the very last day of the year to go to my family and go visit them, although I won't be able to bring sweet little Nora with me, and I won't be able to bring my wife either. Unfortunately, with that, she's got to stay here. We're trying to keep Nora protected and away from RSV season and everything. So about the middle of the year, I actually made a transition in my job at BMW. I went from being a controls engineer to being a leadership and transformation specialist, which was really exciting because it was helping me get on a path to learn more about the business and about HR versus engineering, and helping me be able to become better as a leader and be able to lead others and help develop curriculum around leadership and professional development. So I've been really thankful for that opportunity to learn tremendously from that. As you know as well, I published my first book, and I have plans for at least two more right now that I've thought about. But I published my first book, Mindset Over Motivation, in June, I believe, June or July. I'm getting those mixed up. But I published my very first book, and a lot of people have asked questions about that, and I'm definitely open to talking about that and helping you work through that. But I found different technologies to really help me out with that, and using Fiverr.com to help with the artwork, with the formatting, and the editing of that book. It was very helpful throughout that year. I have accomplished a lot of my fitness goals, and some of them I have not. Kind of regressed on a little of those, to be honest with you. But overall, did a lot with my fitness goals and ran several miles this year that I never thought I'd run again after leaving high school because, well, I loved lifting a lot more than I did like running, but I'm finding myself to really like running a lot more. I joined a mastermind group called Apex back in May. I know I'm kind of going all over the place, but trying to give you just different things that I've worked on. So joined a group called Apex in May, met several people that I've met online only, and it was really awesome. And I'm looking forward to a podcast that I'm doing with a great friend, Sean Barnes, with Way of the Wolf podcast. It's an amazing podcast. I've been a guest on his podcast, but we're going to do another episode which will come out in 2022, and it's going to be really awesome because we're going to talk about several different things. But one of the topics I wanted to make sure that we covered was how impactful social media can be. And so with Apex, which is a mastermind group, these people I had met through another mastermind group called Arte. We had met online. We've had several conversations, several Zoom calls, several individual calls, group calls, you name it. We've talked business, we've talked life, we've talked family, we've talked about the struggles, the wins, everything. And so these people really felt like somebody that I knew, like a best friend from high school or something. But I had never met them before, which was crazy. And at this time, I haven't met Sean either, but we're going to meet very shortly after the release of this podcast. But it was very interesting to meet these people because as soon as I met them, it was like, man, we're giving bro hugs. We're just hugging it out. We're just talking like long lost friends. yet we had never met before. And honestly, social media and the power of it and the mastermind groups has really helped me understand the power behind social media. Let me go ahead and get Nora here. She's not talking on the mic much, but she is whining a little bit. I'm gonna go ahead and get her. So Nora, I'm sorry. Anyways, so mastermind groups have been very incredible to help me be able to move forward in my business and in life in general, be able to ask business questions to people that have been there and done that, people that are beyond where I'm at right now. So I highly encourage you to use social media, leverage social media in that way that you can actually get to know people a lot more and be able to get further in life, further in your business, further in whatever you're looking to learn. Because there's so many people out there willing to help teach you, willing to help you and extend that olive branch. And so social media has been a huge impact on me. I know we've seen with 2020 with COVID and everything, how it seems like it's detrimental, like it's so negative. But when you're around these groups, you don't see that negativity. You see the wins, you see the possibilities in life. So I strongly encourage you to become part of those masterminds. And lastly, and these are things that I'm still working on, is helping people with public speaking gigs. I finally got my first one this year, which is really exciting. It was a men's group called The Modern Man, which was really awesome. And being on that show, being able to, or not the show, but rather being on the weekend event that was going on and be able to speak a little bit about consistency and how powerful that is. And really, it is amazing how consistency can really make a difference in your life. So definitely be consistent. But I got on my first stage. It's really lit this fire under me. And as you know, I've been in Toastmasters for a while, been a president, been area director, just been a member in general, led some other roles as well. And I just have this spark. I really want to be able to get out there and help impact people, which is why I do this podcast, why I'm on YouTube, why I'm on social media in general. But I want to get in front of more people, want to get in front of more eyes. So I could really use your help with that. But that's the plan for next year. But not only do I want to help myself get there, I want to help you be able to speak the message clearly, which is what this podcast has really turned into. Of course, there's still going to be leadership and mindset. And the plan for next year is to have guests on to be able to talk about these things and have people that were speakers to be able to come and talk to you about how they got on stage as well and what they talk about and the kind of business that they do. So I plan on expanding this podcast to not just be me talking. So hopefully you're not too tired of me just yet. We got a little Nora here to help out with that. And she's making little noises as we go. Getting a little sleepy now. So we'll probably be shutting down here in a minute. But the podcast is continuing to grow, starting to see more and more downloads. Pretty cool seeing all that, kind of the residuals of that, and with the previous podcast, how that's still getting downloads, even though I haven't done anything in a year. And actually, this podcast has been going for about a year now, which is pretty awesome. Really excited about that, but excited even more to see what the future holds. But going back to what I was saying, I have made, I don't want to say transition, but I found a little bit more spark in what I wanted to do and helping other people find their message, helping other people be able to get their message out. So whether it's through a podcast, through videos, whatever it may be, maybe it's just written content, it's a blog post, whatever. I am helping people do that. And that's the future plans as well, to grow that coaching business and help others be able to find inspiration and find their voice, because your message does matter. It doesn't matter how little you think you are, how insignificant your life has been, what you think. You can impact one person. I was talking to a friend named Joel the other day, and he was talking about, some of the being out of the army and how it was been a struggle, and how he wants to be able to help people with that. And honestly, it's an awesome thing. He really can help people. And there's a lot of people that are struggling with different areas, with PTSD, with depression, with anxiety, you name it. I'm not a vet, so I don't know what all they're struggling with, but they're struggling. And your message can make that difference. Your story is what's going to impact somebody. So it doesn't matter whether you come from rags to riches, whether you've always been rich, whether you have always been buff, or whatever it may be, your story can impact somebody. And honestly, and this has been my message from the beginning, if I can impact one person's life, it makes this all worth it. It makes all of this worth it. Of course, I want to impact thousands and millions of people's lives. But starting with that one, which I have already done the one, so going on to hundreds and thousands at this point. But get your message out there, and I would love to help you in any way possible. But this is not about that. This is not about trying to pitch you or anything. And nor is about done with the podcast. So we will conclude here. But I just want to give you a little review of what's happened for entrepreneurs and myself over the last year. And I hope y'all all have a blessed end of the year, because this will come out right before the end of the year. But if you're starting and listening to this in 2022 or whenever you're listening to this, go out there and go after your goals. I never thought I would have started a podcast. I never thought I would have written a book. I never thought I would meet people that would be lifelong friends on social media. But I took action. I started doing stuff and made those things happen. So go out there and take action on your goals, and they will all come true.